Welcome to Outside Views Politics 101. Today we're diving into the world of modern politics to examine one of the most polarizing figures of recent history, Donald Trump. As the 45th President of the United States, Trump's leadership style, rhetoric and policies made him a defining example of a nationalist and populist leader. But what do these terms mean, and how did Trump embody them during his first presidency? In this video, we'll explore Trump's rise to power, his approach to governance, and the impact of his nationalist and populist ideals on the political landscape. To understand Trump's appeal, we need to start with the concepts of nationalism and populism. Nationalism is a political ideology centered on promoting the interests and identity of a specific nation, often prioritizing its sovereignty and independence. Populism, on the other hand, is a political approach that claims to represent the will of the people against an elite or establishment perceived as corrupt or disconnected. When combined, these ideologies create a powerful narrative. A leader who defends the nation's identity while standing up for the common citizen against entrenched power structures. Trump's rhetoric and actions during his political career exemplify this combination. Trump's rise to prominence in politics began with his 2016 presidential campaign, a phenomenon that defied conventional wisdom. As a billionaire real estate mogul and reality TV star, Trump was an outsider to traditional politics, which worked to his advantage. His campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again," resonated deeply with voters who felt left behind by globalization, economic shifts, and cultural changes. And this slogan encapsulated both nationalist pride and populist promise to restore power to the people. During the campaign, Trump employed a communication style that was direct, often inflammatory, and unlike anything seen in modern US politics. He attacked political elites, the media, and international institutions, presenting himself as a champion of the forgotten American worker. His rallies became arenas of emotional connection where he amplified the frustrations and aspirations of his supporters. Critics labeled his rhetoric divisive, while supporters saw it as refreshingly honest and unfiltered. A cornerstone of Trump's nationalist agenda was his approach to immigration. From the beginning of his campaign, he framed immigration as a threat to American jobs, security, and culture. His promise to build a wall along the US-Mexico border became one of his most recognizable policy proposals. The wall was more than a physical barrier. It was a symbol of his commitment to protecting American sovereignty and prioritizing the needs of US citizens. Policies like the travel ban targeting several predominantly Muslim countries further underscored his nationalist stance, though they were highly controversial and face significant legal challenges. Economically, Trump's America First approach redefined US trade and foreign policy. He withdrew the US from the Trans-Pacific Partnership, renegotiated NAFTA into the United States-Mexico Agreement, or USMCA, and Canada was in there too, and imposed tariffs on countries like China, aiming to protect American industries. These moves were framed as reclaiming economic independence and putting American workers first. While some praised these policies for addressing trade imbalances, others criticized them for disrupting global supply chains and alienating allies. Trump's populist appeal extended beyond policy. He positioned himself as a disruptor of the status quo, railing against what he called the deep state and the swamp of Washington bureaucracy. His administration often clashed with federal agencies, and his dismissal of expert opinions and traditional diplomatic norms endeared him to voters who distrusted established institutions. Trump's use of social media, particularly Twitter, now X, allowed him to bypass traditional media channels and communicate directly with his base. His tweets, often controversial and polarizing, became a hallmark of his presidency, solidifying his connection with supporters and amplifying his populist message. However, Trump's presidency was not without significant controversies and challenges. His handling of the COVID-19 pandemic drew widespread criticism for its inconsistent messaging and downplaying of the virus severity. At the same time, his administration faced accusations of undermining democratic norms, particularly after the 2020 presidential election. Trump's claim of election fraud, culminating in the storming of the U.S. Capitol on January 6 in 2021, marked one of the darkest chapters in modern American politics. While some saw this as the culmination of his polarizing rhetoric, others viewed it as a misrepresentation of his broader populist agenda. Beyond the United States, Trump's presidency had a profound impact on global politics. His nationalist policies inspired similar movements in countries like Brazil, Hungary, and the United Kingdom, where leaders embraced populist rhetoric and nationalist ideals. At the same time, his withdrawal from international agreements such as the Paris Climate Accord and the Iran nuclear deal shifted the dynamics of global diplomacy. Critics argued that these moves eroded America's leadership role, while supporters praised them as prioritizing national sovereignty. In assessing Trump's legacy, it's clear that his first presidency was a turning point in American and global politics. He redefined the Republican Party, energizing a new base of working class and rural voters while alienating more traditional conservatives. His influence continues to shape political discord, with nationalist and populist themes remaining central to many political movements. And Trump's leadership exemplified the strengths and risks of nationalist and populist politics. On one hand, he tapped into genuine grievances and brought attention to issues like economic inequality and globalization's impact on workers. On the other, his divisive rhetoric and governance style raised concerns about the erosion of democratic norms and the dangers of polarization. And the story of Donald Trump is still unfolding as his influence extends beyond his presidency, and we will now see a second one. And whether one views him as a champion of the people or a polarizing figure, his role in modern politics is undeniable. His rise and tenure highlight the enduring appeal of nationalist and populist ideologies in an era of rapid change and uncertainty. So thank you for joining me today on Outside Views Politics 101. And if you found this little dive into Donald Trump's nationalist and populist leadership insightful, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below this video. And the same video we will probably have to do in 4 years. But first of all, we will see what happens after January 20th. Thanks for watching, and the next video is right here in the end screen.